Hey everyone, happy Sunday. And because today is Sunday, I figured that this was the perfect day of the week to talk about sex because God knows your pastor is not going to talk about it. And I wanted to talk specifically about leading with sex when you are attracting a man and whether or not that is something that the cherished woman does. So if this is your first time watching me, my name is Keisha Rice and I am the pre-wife coach. I help single, professional Christian women learn how to attract their ideal partners and how to do it without compromising their identity, their values, or their sanity. So, with that in mind, back to the idea of leading with sex when you are trying to attract a man. Can you attract a man if you are leading with your sexuality, as in dressing a certain way, talking a certain way, making certain types of Facebook posts on Instagram and Facebook? Let's be real, these posts are thirst traps. But can you attract a man that way? Of course, you absolutely can. Women have been doing it since the beginning of time. Not the social media part, but the rest, yes. Now, should you attract a man that way? And this may sound surprising from a Christian dating coach. It depends. I would say, what are your motives in leading with sex? What are you trying to accomplish? What type of man are you trying to get? Because this happens to me all the time, that I will meet a woman and she comes to me for advice and she says, I'm just attracting men who seem to only be interested in my body and they're not interested in anything else, and I don't understand what it is that I'm doing wrong. And I will ask her, hey, do you mind handing me your phone so I can check your Instagram and so that I can check your Facebook? And oftentimes I will do that. And the first thing I see is boobs everywhere, boobs or other parts of the anatomy everywhere. And here's the thing about that. If you are trying to attract a certain type of man, as in the type of men that say the Kardashians would go for, your favorite reality TV star would go for, then yes, this is completely the way to go. You have a blueprint laid out in front of you. All you have to do is copy their social media post. But 99% of the women who follow me, that is not the case. They are trying to attract godly men. They are looking for their husbands, and they want to find a husband without compromising their values. So why would you lead with dressing in a provocative manner? Why would you lead with certain sexual talk to attract a man and then be surprised when that is what he goes for? Because here's the thing, men are visual creatures. They are very visual. And of course, they are going to be attracted to a woman who is showing off her assets. And that is not a reason to bash men. I want to be very clear about that. Because even some of the men that we revere the most in the Bible fell for that. Let's talk about David and Bathsheba, for example. He met her, seeing her bathe on a roof, and that is how he fell in love with her. And if you know the story, you know that Bathsheba was married, so he sent her husband, who was a soldier, to the front lines to ensure that he would get killed and that David could take Bathsheba as his wife, one of his wives. David married 6 or 7 women. And again, David is one of the men that many people consider one of the greatest in the Bible. He is revered. There are so many books written about David. There are countless sermons preached every Sunday around the world about David. But yes, David was also a visual creature. So just because a man goes for that doesn't make him a bad man. But you have to think about what it is that you are putting out there into the atmosphere, what energy you are putting out when you're trying to attract a man. So dressing in that way, not only are you having to think about your motives, but you also have to think about how sustainable this is. So how you get a man is how you keep him. So if you are getting a man by dressing in a certain manner, are you going to be comfortable with keeping that up for the rest of your life potentially? Are you going to be comfortable with constantly dressing that way? Are you going to be comfortable with constantly talking that way? I want you to really think about that. And also, because back to David, for example, David lived in a time where men could marry more than one woman, so they could be with more than one type of woman forever. What you will get with quality men is that most of them want wives, not husbands. So quality men do want wives, and they want a wife who they can cherish, who they can support, who they can respect. And a godly man wants a godly wife. That being said, some of these godly men that we meet still have things to work on with themselves. And because that is the case, a lot of them won't necessarily turn down a fling or two on the path to finding a wife. And I know you may not want to hear that, but it is very true. So what happens a lot of time is when you find a godly man who wants to find a wife, because of course the Bible says that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, he will be on this quest to find the woman who is going to be the mother of his children, to find the woman who upholds a certain standard, to find that Proverbs 31 woman that he can put his arm around her and be proud of her and help her become the cherished woman that God wants her to be. But if he meets a woman who is leading with sex and he is attracted to her, that doesn't mean that he's not going to date that woman along the way. And I see this happen time and time again, that women will get upset because they attracted a man by dressing a certain way, by acting a certain way, by talking a certain way, and they tell me that they want a good man, they want a man who's educated, they want a man who goes to church, they want a man who does this, that, and the other. They find him, they date him, and then they get, frankly, pissed when he leaves them and he goes off and finds Puritan Patty who wears ankle-length skirts and who has never heard of a V-neck. And they wonder, what the heck happened? How did this happen to me? Well, again, leading with sex is an instant magnet. It really is. It's very fast, it's very quick, it's very easy, but it's not the most sustainable path. You have to have more than that to attract your godly man, the man who is going to become your husband. You have to have way more than that to attract a man who is going to cherish you, who's going to support you, who's going to respect you. And you don't even need that. I can tell you that from experience. My fiance, do you want to know what I was wearing when I met him? I was wearing an incredibly old sweater that I had owned since high school. I was wearing jeans that were also old and had been washed way too many times. I was wearing tennis shoes and my hair was in a ponytail. I didn't need sex to attract my fiance. He was attracted to me because I embodied a cherished woman. I embodied a woman who had presence, who knew how to intrigue a man, who went beyond the skills of putting on makeup and dressing up to having, again, presence, to having confidence, to going beyond confidence, having Godfidence. I know who I am. I know that God created me and that He created me as a masterpiece. I know that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I know that my Father in heaven cherishes me, and because of that, I deserve to be cherished here on earth as well. And because I have that Godfidence, I look at the world a different way. I enter a room a different way. And that is what the cherished woman does. And that is why she doesn't have to lead with sex. She knows that there's way, way more to her and who she is as a person than just her body. She knows that she also has a sense of humor. She also has her intellect. She also has conversational skills. She also knows how to listen. She embraces her feminine. And yes, sexuality is a part of your feminine energy. But beyond that, the feminine energy is magnetizing. It is creative. It gives life. It literally creates and sustains life. That energy is beyond sexy. And when you know how to embrace that, when you know how to be what God has created you to be, because God created masculine and feminine. And while both men and women have those energies, both as a woman, you have some masculine energy, and there are times when you lead with it. But when it comes to attracting men, you lead with your feminine energy. And when you learn how to walk into that, when you learn how to embrace the feminine, the creative side, the nurturing side, the mysterious side, the intriguing side that God has placed in you, then you become a magnet to all good things. You become a magnet to godly men who want to cherish you. You become a magnet to better opportunities in your career and in all aspects of your life, not just relationships. But of course, that is what we focus on when you and I work together. So again, if you want to lead with sexual energy, the template is out there for you. There are plenty of Instagram models. There are plenty of reality show stars who you can go on their IGs, you can go on their Facebook, you can copy all of that. And if that makes you happy, then you do you, boo. I am not mad at you. You do what you're comfortable with. But if you're really looking to attract a godly man, and if you're looking to make this a relationship that is sustainable, if you're looking to make this a relationship where you feel cherished and you're confidently cherished and you're comfortable in knowing that this man loves you and that he loves all aspects of you, it's not the way to go. The cherished woman, she leads with her feminine, not her body. She knows that her feminine is way more than her body. She leads with her personality. She leads with all the things that make her unique. So it's time to learn some new tricks, frankly, because the whole sex thing has been around since the beginning of time. And any woman can learn to do it. I promise you, Google. You will find 50 million tips from other dating coaches on how to lead with your sexuality. It is very easy to learn. But you don't go the easy route. You go the cherished route. You go the sustainable route. So it's time that you learn how to break from your past hurts. It's time that you learn how to increase your self-confidence. It's time that you learn how to embody what a cherished woman is, a woman who knows her value. And it's time that you walk into that energy instead. And I promise you, once I show you how to do that, you will attract a husband who is going to cherish you. So if you're interested in working with me, feel free to message me, send me a DM, and we can chat. But in the meantime, happy Sunday, and I will talk to you guys soon. Okay? Bye.